Imagine this: someone sitting in a crowded room, laughing with friends, sharing stories, and yet feeling utterly alone. They're surrounded by people, but no one truly knows them. This paradox, being socially active yet emotionally isolated, is a growing reality for millions. It's a silent struggle, hidden behind smiles and small talk, and it's far more common than most people realize. Why do some people find it so hard to form deep, meaningful connections even when they're constantly surrounded by others? The answer isn't simple. It's a tangled web of psychology, trauma, culture, and the modern world's relentless pace. This isn't just about being shy or awkward, it's about the invisible barriers that keep us from opening up, trusting, and truly connecting. And understanding these barriers isn't just about empathy, it's about unlocking the keys to a more fulfilling life. Let's start with the most basic, yet most powerful, obstacle: the fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability is the raw, unfiltered part of ourselves that we show when we're truly open with someone. It's the moment we say, "I'm scared," or "I failed," or "I need help." But for many, that moment is terrifying. Why? Because vulnerability feels like a risk. It's the risk of rejection, judgment, or being hurt. This fear is rooted in something called attachment theory, a psychological framework that explains how early relationships shape our ability to connect later in life. If someone grew up in an environment where they were constantly criticized, abandoned, or ignored, their brain might have learned that vulnerability is dangerous. They might have developed what psychologists call an avoidant attachment style, where they instinctively pull away from intimacy to protect themselves. Take the case of a young professional we'll call Alex. Alex is the life of every party, always cracking jokes and making new friends. But when asked about close relationships, Alex shrugs and says, "I don't need them. I'm fine on my own." In reality, Alex's loneliness is a silent scream. Their avoidant attachment style, shaped by a childhood where emotional needs were dismissed, makes them fear that any real connection will lead to pain. So they keep people at arm's length, even as they surround themselves with others. This isn't just about Alex. Studies show that about 50% of adults have insecure attachment styles, which can make forming deep connections feel impossible. And for those with anxious attachment styles, the problem is even more complex. These individuals crave closeness but are terrified of rejection, leading to a cycle of pushing people away and then desperately trying to win them back. It's a paradox that leaves them trapped in emotional limbo, never feeling secure. But attachment isn't the only factor. There's also the issue of social anxiety, a condition that affects nearly 7% of the global population. For those with social anxiety, even the thought of engaging in conversation can trigger a panic response. Their brains interpret social interactions as potential threats, leading to physical symptoms like a racing heart, sweating, and difficulty speaking. This isn't just shyness, it's a mental health challenge that can make forming relationships feel like an impossible task. A 2021 study in the Journal of Anxiety Disorders found that 40% of people with social anxiety reported significant struggles in forming close relationships. For them, the fear of being judged or embarrassed is so intense that they often self-sabotage opportunities for connection. They might cancel plans at the last minute, avoid eye contact, or overthink every word they say. Over time, these behaviors create a self-fulfilling prophecy: the more they avoid intimacy, the more isolated they become. And then there's the role of trauma. Early life experiences of neglect, abuse, or abandonment can leave lasting scars on a person's ability to form relationships. Trauma rewires the brain, making it hypervigilant to threats and hypervigilant to rejection. For someone who grew up in a home where love was conditional or absent, the idea of trusting someone else can feel like a betrayal of their own survival instincts. This is where the concept of emotional regulation comes in. People who've experienced trauma often struggle to manage their emotions in the moment. A simple disagreement might trigger a flood of panic or anger, making it hard to communicate effectively. Over time, these emotional outbursts can push others away, reinforcing the belief that they're unlovable or unworthy of connection. But trauma isn't the only factor. Culture plays a surprisingly large role in shaping how we view relationships. In many Western societies, individualism is celebrated. Being independent, self-reliant, and successful is